Bienvenidos. I'm trying to think of all
Aloha,
the
konnichiwa.
Yes, there we go. All the hellos in all the languages to everybody, and welcome to the Rage Select podcast right here on Rage Select. I'm Jeff.
I'm Mayhem's Muse.
And Jennifer, I have a confession to make. I really don't care about the Olympics. I really just don't.
You don't care about like rampant bouts of just never mind. It's just crap. I don't even care enough to go on about it. Let's just not.
Yeah. The most interested I've been in the Olympics over the last few years was there was a story that was the first time 3 or 4 years ago where I learned that about just the horrible amounts of having sex with each other in the Olympic Village, where you've got all these people who
They're
are
getting
just
turnt.
They're super physically fit. They're all jittery.
Sexy party.
They're all wired up. In fact, I saw a picture on Imager the other day that was just some guy whose one job was to wander around the Olympic Village with this duffel bag full of condoms and hand them out. Who's just
hey,
for everybody.
Safety is sexy, guys.
Yep.
Safety is sexy. It's good stuff, though. I think the thing that I care most about, other than being mad about the whole, this amazing lady athlete just won this thing.
Yeah.
Her husband did a real good job. Other than that crap, was that cupping is now becoming a huge topic of conversation.
No.
Yeah,
Did you stack the cups? Is that what you're talking about?
No, sweetie.
Okay.
Jeff, you're pretty.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're real pretty.
I'm not.
No,
really.
cupping, which is from thousands of years ago, Chinese medicine. It's you take a glass or plastic cup, and with hot air and suction, you put them on muscle groups that you've been working out a lot that are tense and are stiffened, and it pulls the the toxins in the blood out of that, so it keeps your muscles from tensing and stuff. So a lot of medical massage therapists use that to help athletes and people who are being really physical all the time with getting good blood flow and getting everything healthy in your body.
I'm really looking for more
creates
leeches.
a big giant circular bruises purple.
I'm sure
It's basically the same thing, the effect of a leech, where it pulls the shit out of your skin and makes all of the crap break up and flow, and it's good stuff. I was
so horrified because I thought you meant that dumb cup stacking thing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking about. And if it's any kind of frat college cupping stacking shit, I've seen it.
All right. And for people there on the internet, go out to YouTube. I'm sure I could find it if I just look for cup stacking.
Do it. Just don't do it.
Don't type anything into the internet everywhere. Here's cup stacking world record 2016. So cup stacking, you have to have seen this. It's you have 10.
Is it you stack them up real high and then whoever can collapse them all?
No, it's basically you have, what is it? Was this 1, 2, 3, 4? It's 10 to 12 cups, right? And they're all stacked on top of each other, and then you unstack them into this thing, and then you break them all back down again, and then you make them into this other thing.
That's what I just said.
Oh, is that what it? Okay. Well, but it's not. Nobody knocks them down. So but they do it look, this guy's got a USA thing on, and it's he's got a little timer to see how fast he can do this.
Why?
That's been my question. Is that's he got the world record. Oh my God, he did the whole thing in 5 seconds. What? And it's I was
Congratulations, you are now fully prepared to enter your first college fraternity.
I was watching the Olympics when I was getting my car fixed, and they were doing kayak racing, and I was literally that's more useful than this, because it's just how fast can you do this one thing where you build these little towers, and then you build a big tower, and then you break them all back down again. And this shit's been going on for a while now, and it's
I'm sorry, what just happened? I fell asleep.
Yes, exactly. I mean,
zero fucks given.
The first time that you see, here's the 2015 cup stacking record.
Oh, look, those are metal cups.
No, they're just silver solos.
Metal, he's super turnt.
Oh, man. It's you know what it reminds me of is that, that's not the world record. This is a troll.
Yeah, he's foobarring.
It reminds me of that video that was popular a little while back on the internet of that guy who flipped that water bottle and it landed right side up, and everybody was like, "What the fuck?"
Nope.
Yeah, there's some dumb shit, I guess, on the internet is what I'm saying.
Nope.
Because
if it's not a VR film, I haven't seen it.
I should not be chiding other people because I know what this is. And I've watched at least a half a dozen videos of people.
Because you've just pulled up 4 in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah. And boy, is it dumb.
All right. So, yes. Cup stacking is apparently a thing.
Yep.
cupping to pull toxins out of your back and get good blood flow and healthy muscles is also a thing.
It's also a thing.
And the Olympics are happening. They're a thing. Go watch them.
Yep.
Don't get Zika.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. That
is your Olympic.
We did a podcast.
There you go.
Record time.
Done.
Man, I've been trying to get these times down. We're at like 4 minutes. All right. So
high five. Now we can go get a cheeseburger and a cocktail.
Be so good.
Yes.
No, but before we get into the news, I wish it was that easy. I wish it was. Boy, making the podcast every week it's long. But so I have not seen Suicide Squad, but you have seen Suicide Squad.
I did. I went and saw it last Thursday.
I'd like to ask you to tell me a little bit about Suicide Squad.
So once upon a time, there was a group of very bad people. They were called
the Berenstain Bears.
The Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay. Yakko, Wacko, and Dot.
And they bought the rights to a lot of comic franchises and decided to hire directors to make a particular vision and then hired editors to make another vision and then decided at the last moment that fuck all that.
Yeah.
We're going to make it into something completely different and drop the rating to PG-13 for a project that obviously should be R.
Oh, they do that? I thought it was...
Oh, girl, it's PG-13. Girl. Yeah, so in the process of that, so check this. Jared Leto, my homeboy, singer of 30 Seconds to Mars, amazing musician, full-on method actor. Like, I don't know if you guys at home know anything about any of the roles that he's ever been in. Every time he puts on a role, he's the guy who goes crazy and, like, loses 30 pounds so that he can be, like, in the character's mindset, or he'll binge eat so much food that he gains 30 pounds in a month or whatever and gets gout because of it. And he's that guy, right? So he got fully into the Joker. And as such, I was told that like 90% of the lines that he delivered in his scenes were all improv'd within the framework of, you know, the project, right?
Well, that's no good.
And because Warner Brothers decided that they wanted to cater to a younger market or whatever and do PG-13 rather than R,
right?
All of his lines were so in the gutter, dirty, whatever, that they cut him out.
Because the Joker is a homicidal serial killer. He's not
with severe abusive issues with Harley Quinn, and just no respect for anybody on the planet.
He's a psycho murder clown.
Psychotic. Yeah, exactly. And everything that you would expect in that, being true to the genre, the objectification, the verbiage, all of it was just completely and totally cut out. In fact, like, I don't know how, do you want to go like spoiler city now, or do you want to keep it vague?
Let's stay in the suburbs of vague reference.
Okay, vague references. I can do this. Okay, so it's just, you're not going to get what you expect out of the Joker out of that movie, is all.
Well, let me
now,
ask you
Jared Leto is great in the role for what he was given.
Yeah.
Like, the few moments that he's in the film are really great.
Okay.
But he's in the film less than like 7 minutes.
Okay.
Totes.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, first off, I wanted to ask, when you were saying that, what was your expectation for the Joker? Do you have like a preconception, like who's your favorite Joker? Who's your favorite Joker
of all
actor?
time?
Yeah, or we go with just actors.
Jeez. Right? I mean, honestly, I want to see more of what Jared Leto's doing with it, because I really like what I'm seeing so far. He's got such a great ability to step into the mind of whatever character he's portraying. Yeah. And I like that especially with like the art style, they went a completely different direction with him than they've ever gone before. I like it. I like what they're doing with it.
How much purple was there? I don't see near enough purple in those trailers.
Well, his jacket is like an alligator print kind of thing, and it's a bird. It's like a deep royal plum purple.
Okay, so extreme.
So it's hard to tell.
2016. This isn't Yo Mama's Joker kind of Joker.
Oh yeah. Yep. So the wardrobe stylist for the project looked at a lot of like mafia fashion. So like gold Tommy guns and blinged out things and chains and tattoos and all sorts of like kind of not high fashion but alternative fashion meets comic. So it's got some of the like the more verbose colors, but it's got like shinier fabrics and just more, it looks like a comic book come to life kind of a feel, which I dug the art style of it. They leave a lot to be desired in the plot of the movie with the things that they cut out, but I was impressed.
How was the A plot? I mean, you were talking about the actual Suicide Squad
it felt a little
assembled,
a little one note.
Yeah.
towards the middle, especially. Lots of like, we're running through the town doing the thing. Now we're running through the town doing the thing. Now we're running through the town doing the thing.
Sure, you got to do that thing.
I like the characters. I like the story development. I like to see where they're going with it. It's got potential if Warner Brothers would just pull their head out of their ass and get out of their own way and let them be the thing. I'm excited to see what they do with the Harley Quinn movie.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie is either directing it or she's producing it.
Okay.
For sure. And she did a lot of really good character research on the on the DC universe when she accepted the role of Harley Quinn, and I really like how cerebral she's being about it, and the fact that she's really fallen in love with the whole universe. It's good stuff. I don't know. Go see it. Definitely worth seeing. Ignore all of the critics and all of the crap that they're going to say. If you're going in because you love comics and you love DC and you love the characters, you're going to love the movie.
I do love DC, but this might. I mean, I feel like Suicide Squad is probably the time that I get to experience what a lot of other people experienced with some of the other DC movies, because, and I'm not going to go into it because people just hate it when I do, but I'm a big old fan of Superman. So
shock.
Yeah, I don't. So the problem
I don't know if you know, guys.
Yeah, is that I mean I don't even really care all that. I mean I care a little bit, but I don't have any real. I'm not going to go watch
expectation.
Well, I'm not going to go watch Iron Man and be like, "Oh man, you guys have done Tony Stark all wrong," right? I thought they did good with Captain America because I like Captain America, because apparently all I like are like stand-up Boy Scouts in blue costumes. Apparently,
gross. But just gross.
But like, I really care about Superman, so it really irks me when I really disagree. It's hard for me to overlook it when they do Superman the way that Snyder did Superman, because I just didn't like it. But Suicide Squad, I mean, you know, Harley Quinn and Deadshot and Captain fucking Boomerang, for God's sake. He's a dumb Flash villain. Like, he wears a big purple hat in the comics.
He does not wear a big purple hat in the movie. He does, however, have an adorable sidekick.
Yeah. So I guess the fact that I don't really give much of a shit about these characters means that I could mostly go in there and without any real preconceptions. So
the only other thing I will say about it is all of the crap being put out right now about Harley Quinn, ignore it. There are people who are being very, feminism, where this is a setback and sexified characters and whatever.
Right.
Hi, go back and read the original graphic novels. That was Harley Quinn from the beginning. But the thing of it is that she's a woman fully cognizant of her own sexual prowess and her own ability to manifest that and affect people with it. So it's not just her being like weak and stringing from guy to guy. It's her consciously and cognizantly making the decision to put herself out there that way.
Okay.
And I have no problem with a woman who loves her body and wants to be strong in that and decides to use that however she pleases. You know, if you're feeling objectified or like it's a demure thing, like you don't have the power to fight it and people like want you or whatever, that I have a problem with. But if you're just strong and you're sassy and you know what you want, go for it.
Okay.
And Harley Quinn, very much, it's like she knows she's attractive and she knows that she can use it to get what she wants, and she does, because she's, surprise, a villain.
Right.
Like, they never made any qualms about it. She's a villain, straight up. She likes to murder people and likes to do the thing, and that's it. So just enjoy the movie. It's good.
I don't know. I've been watching. I've talked about this a little bit over the weekend with Matt, but like, I saw an article last week that was 6 reasons why it's okay to like Suicide Squad, and I just like, that was my cue to take another little hiatus from Facebook and social media in general, to be like, whose approval are you looking for, internet person? If you like if it was your favorite movie this year,
good for you.
Excellent. Wonderful.
You like the movie.
Don't click on that link that's like 12 reasons why this is stupid. It was written as clickbait anyway. Don't read it. Don't go to Metacritic. Just go watch a thing and then be like, it's great. And when your friends are like, you just be like, well, back to you because I liked it.
Did you hear that there are people that are trying to sue, Warner Brothers, for like false advertising because of their trailers not having... Like, the trailers had a lot of scenes that were cut out of the final cut of the movie.
Really?
Yeah. So in that whole process of, they filmed the thing, the director had a vision, the editors had a vision, and then Warner Brothers came in and was like, fuck you all, let's do the thing.
Yeah.
So they cut the trailers before that final change in plot.
Okay.
So a lot of things that were in the trailer were to market the movie one way because that was the direction that they were given, and then they decided, nope, we're going a different way altogether, so change everything.
That is literally bait and switch.
That is literally the worst.
That was
it's
the bait.
Literally the worst.
And then you switched it. And then you,
they waited. From what I hear, it was like the last minute that they were still making changes to the plot and shit. Like they filmed several things many different ways. And I read a list of deleted scenes that were changed and things. And it's quite interesting.
My favorite of all time when somebody sued. There was another one of those suits where somebody was like, "Your trailer lied about what your movie was," which all trailers lie, but there was this woman somewhere who sued the director of Drive because I don't know if you remember the trailer for Drive, but the trailer for Drive, and you've seen, obviously, okay. The trailer for Drive made Drive look like it was going to be a Fast and the Furious movie. And then you watch Drive and you're just like,
that's not that, no.
Gee, it's a good thing that I love watching Ryan Gosling not talk a lot, because if I didn't love that more than my life, this movie would suck hard, fans of Drive. Seriously, it's a good movie.
I'm sensing a little bit of salt in your voice, my friend.
I have a friend. He thinks that Drive is the greatest movie of all time. He won't shut up about it. And I'm just like, it's fine. But you have to admit that it does slow down quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
In a lot of places.
Yes.
Like, but yeah, I remember her suing either the company or the director or something like that. And I thought about it for a while. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of on your side, lady. Like, because the trailer for that movie, it made it seem like you were going to go see, Ryan Gosling do his best Paul Walker, and then when you get in there and you're just like, what the fuck is this?
What is this?
He's got 8 lines in the entire movie.
No.
What the hell?
Yeah, I feel you.
Oh, man. Well,
and the soundtrack is the best part of that movie.
Okay. What would you
Every song in the trailer,
what's your
in any of the
preferred
trailers, is in the movie.
What's your preferred rating scheme? You like 5 stars? You like out of 10? You like out of 100?
Depends on the day of the week.
Give me a score. What do you got?
Let's say,
what's your final?
Out of 10 ski.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 6.5 ski.
Okay.
And 4.5 of that is completely cast.
Okay.
And the other 2.5 is I loved the fucking lighting and the set, like the cinematography.
Okay. Did they
and
give? See, that's the other thing that I'm really worried about. Looking at the trailers with Jared Leto in there, and Margot Robbie, and then Will Smith as Deadshot. Like, it seems like there's a good 3 or 4 of those guys that are probably they're not going to get really much to do. Like, they're probably just going to be there as cannon fodder.
Yeah, it's mainly Deadshot and Harley.
Yeah, because I mean, I was actually thinking about it in the context of Star Trek Beyond, how they gave everybody a little something to do in Star Trek Beyond, even if it was just running around in the camper doing whatever. And I kind of get the impression that, like,
there are a couple moments for each person to shine, but not much.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I tell you what, we've got to. I'm trying to decide. I went out last weekend and I have a weird story, but I don't.
Go for it. Do it.
So,
do it.
all right.
Do it.
Children, gather around. Story time.
Story time with Jeff.
I tried to tell this on the live stream last Sunday, but I was very cranky, and so I didn't really do it justice. Yeah. Well, so last weekend, my friend Nick, who I worked with on Spill, a lot of people know him, came into town from London.
Yeah, you guys got to hang out.
Yep. He's in town. He's still in town. We'll probably get to hang out once or twice more before he leaves. But
awesome.
So we went to this bar. We're sitting outside. It's like me and him.
What bar did you go to?
The Poorhouse, the new Poorhouse down on Burnett. Because
I hear it's not as good as it used to be.
No, but they do have Zoe on tap, which is what I really care about. So,
fair.
And it's
Priorities.
cheap. So,
yay.
So we're sitting there, and it's me and him, and one of the folks who is a big fan of Rage Like Quick Kick, our friend Jason. And so we're all sitting there hanging out, and this lady comes over and sits down and is like, "I'm gonna hang out with you dudes." And I'm like,
okay, hey girl,
all right. And boy, I just had no idea. I just can't tell. I'm really, really, really bad at picking up any sort of social cue when it comes to the opposite sex.
So you're Team Mystic, okay?
Yeah, like I don't. Is that? Are you giving me a Pokemon dig here? Is that what that is? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, we Mystics are awkward as fuck around I would say the opposite sex, but for those of us who same sex as well, for people who we are interested in that way.
I mean, I can count at least 4 different points in my life where I was out and some lady came up and started talking to me, and I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? Now, blah, blah, blah. All right, see you later. And then I walk back over to my friends, and they're like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, what? She's like, she walked up to you and started talking to you. She was interested in you. And I'm like, oh, man.
Am I the only one who's just like, can we just throw the game out the window and be like, hey, boo,
What's
I
up?
like you. I dig you.
Yeah.
How's it going? Let's hang out.
It doesn't even have to be
dude.
like, get out of my dreams, get into my car. But maybe if you
just like, hey,
like,
do you want like a coffee and a chat?
If you've been talking to somebody for 15 minutes and they seem just utterly clueless or really drunk, just be like, hey, I'm going to put my number in your phone real fast. Give me that. I mean, maybe if you're a lady. If you're a guy, I wouldn't recommend grabbing a lady's phone and be like,
I don't like that it's one way but not the other.
I'm going to mess with... No, it's got to be... Everybody's got to be allowed to grab everybody's phone.
Or nobody.
Or nobody's got to be allowed to grab...
Communication is key, is the thing there.
I
just
feel
be
like
hey, why don't we exchange phone numbers? I'd like to get at you.
I feel like we need...
Don't say it like that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Hey, I'd like to get at you.
I'd like to get at you.
That doesn't sound...
That's Mayhem's dating advice, folks. Which is why I am very much single and not dating anybody right now.
It could come across as really awkward.
Just even more awkward as fuck. Hey, at least you're not Team Instinct awkward, which is like climbing halfway up the wall and putting your crotchal region in their face, and that's your idea of flirting.
Boy, these Pokemons have gotten really specific in their like the bylaws of the different teams.
There's so many memes. It's ridiculous. But yeah, so homegirl comes and sits with you guys. You don't know what the F.
Yeah, I don't. Because it's I was saying this on the stream last Sunday. So, okay, Nick Hodges is slathering his lovely British accent that we all of us Americans go for all over the place, right?
Swoon.
He's a young fit guy, but my friend Jason is like a karate master. He's like wearing this shirt where you can literally see like his giant pecs and stuff, and I'm just like that schlubby dude with a beard sitting on one side.
Hey,
so
you're
I'm like,
in Austin. Beards are in, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Austin Facial Hair Club is a thing.
But there was a point where I was doing the mental math, and I'm like, who did she come over to talk to? The charming British man, the fucking fit, stacked like workout dude, or like
maybe Nerdy Bro just does it for her.
Number 3, shaved head
know her?
and beard. I don't. But it was real weird. Like there was one point where in the conversation where she was talking about her friends having sex in front of her, and how that's
awkward.
That's real rude. And I was like, yeah, that would come off as like, hey.
I mean, either invite or get a room.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we apparently she was there with 2 of her friends, and then at the end of the night we ended up hanging out with all 3 of them briefly, and then it was just like, all right, everybody, goodbye. And
were their numbers exchanged?
No.
Was there eye contact?
I see that.
Were there jokes? Like,
well,
did you look up from your beer to make eye contact with said pretty girl?
I was drinking a lot, but I was making the jokes because that's what I do when I'm nervous and awkward.
People like a sense of humor, bro. I'm just telling you. I am much more likely to accept a date offer from somebody who can make me laugh than somebody that's cute. Just saying.
I don't know how anything.
That is true life strats right there. That is Mayhem life strats.
Yeah,
gotta have that mental game.
I guess it's very I'm very ashamed to admit this, but 39 years old. The idea of some random human being being interested in me is just terrifying. I'm like, I don't know how the world works anymore. Do I DM you on Instagram, or am I supposed to swipe on? I don't. Whatever.
No, you just go, hey, I think you're cool. Do you want to trade numbers? Let's go out sometime.
Terrifying.
That's fine.
What if she goes...
Are you going to live in fear, or are you going to man up and do the thing?
I'm going to live in fear.
Why?
I'm going to live in fear. It's worked good.
You are just going to cuddle Archer forever.
That's right. That's true. Well, that's... I tell you what, we're veering off into a somewhat dark place. So let's get to the news.
I mean, I could go for awkward dating stories on my end. I could do that.
Oh, boy.
I've got some.
Save them, because we've got... We've got
trailers and shit.
Some news. Yeah, all right. So this
I saw this one before you sent it to me.
Okay, this is more this is less video game and more okay, well let's
hot Mila Jovovich video.
Okay, let's just start. What do you think about those Resident Evil movies?
Being somebody who had never played the games before I saw the movie, it's a great movie. It has nothing to do with a goddamn thing in the games. That's fine.
I thought I liked number 1. I thought the first one was pretty decent. The second one Much less so. The big rubber suit nemesis guy.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
And then from there, because this is like number 6, right? Because this is Resident Evil 3, 4, and 5. I can't remember anything that happened in any of those
They were all
movies.
pretty much the same thing. I think I stopped caring after they had, what was it, Ali Larder, and then they killed her off?
Oh, right.
Right? Wasn't it her?
Yeah. Was she? No, that was somebody else. Was Jill Valentine.
Yeah, that was the brunette. But they had her as the blonde with the spider thing on her chest, the big giant ruby spider.
No,
thing.
that is Jill Valentine. The other one is Claire Redfield.
Something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so many female antagonists, and then Michelle Rodriguez was in one of them, and she was a good guy, and then she was in another one, she was a bad guy.
She was in the first one, and
yeah,
she died.
and then they brought her back as a bad guy
okay, this
in
is
one of
where
the other ones.
I don't even.
Yeah, it's all very convoluted, and it's really just like a parade of how many amazing women actors can we get in zombie horror flicks with the name Resident Evil so that we can keep making money off this franchise.
I think that I was done with it the moment that where it was like at the end of 3 where Mila opens up that door and there's all of the clones there, right? And there's like just a million, and I'm like, I've had this dream before. 1 million Mila Jovovich is walking around.
God,
holy
yes,
shit.
Please. I'd settle for one.
I'd have a shot at this point. We're just lousy with them. They're everywhere.
Just please, one of them's gotta be my type.
when
or I've gotta be one of their type.
You're reading internet posts about people like, you know what? I'm tired of dating Mila Jovovich. I've dated 12 already.
What?
And I'm sick of it. And I'll just be like, that's fine.
You need to become asexual, bro, because there ain't getting any better than that.
But then they broke my heart because they started the next movie and they spent the first 10 minutes killing all of them back off again, except for the main one. And I'm like, why did you even do that? Did you just write yourself in a corner? You didn't want to do that much green screen work?
They keep thinking this is the end, and then they're like, no, we got nothing else. Let's pump out another one.
Yeah, that 4th movie could have starred 5 copies. It could have been like Orphan Black, except an action movie with a bunch of Mila Jovoviches running around blasting zombies.
See, they're going to make this the final chapter, and then they're going to make another one.
Yeah.
And it'll be a million Mila Jovoviches.
That one takes place in the future. It's like Jason X or like Hellraiser.
She's totally on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been on my list my whole life. She's freaking amazing. Like Kate Beckinsale and
you know what I find
Charlize Theron.
Funny is that
Anne Hathaway.
I ran into her as a teenager when she had a music career. She
ran into her physical being.
No. Like I first discovered.
Okay.
I was watching MTV,
2 different things.
And she had this video where it's like all black and white. She didn't have any clothes on, and there's like spiders and weird '90s dream imagery going on.
She was singing, or she was in the video.
She had an album. I bought it. She had a full-on pop album. The single.
Was it good?
It's real like '90s warbly kind of like. Discount Sarah McLachlan. It's all right. Like it's not the best.
Did she write, or was she just like a couple piece?
I don't know that, but yeah, the single for it, if you guys all want to see this, is called it's called "The Gentleman Who Fell," which is such a '90s pop song name. And so I was just watching MTV one day, and this is 1994 when this came out, and I was just like, well, who is this young lady? And then it was because this is back when she was just a model. And then it was years later that she actually started acting in movies. And so I think she's like, like
she looks
18
super young
or something in this video.
Yeah, I believe that.
But anyway, so then she started acting in movies and it was like, well, that's great. And this video is so silly. It's so self-serious. It's so 90s. It's black and white. There's knives and spiders and Mila hanging around.
Naked Mila. Wow.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. And she's got way too much eyeliner on.
It's like kind of trying to channel this 1920s vibe.
Yeah. It's
like film noir, kind of a weird, creepy vibe. All right. I dig it. It's up her alley. It's cool.
Anyway, so back to Resident Evil. Resident Evil, the final chapter.
Nothing new.
Yeah.
It's the same shit.
Well, actually,
zombies and Raccoon City is dead, and we're gonna end the world.
I tell you what you can always tell when a series is desperate because they're going back to the first one, and you've got also. Is it just me or like Mila's face looks weird in this? Like it looks different. Like I don't know, maybe she had some work done or something, but
well, she's just like in her 40s now.
Okay, or maybe
she's gorgeous. But I mean, age happens.
Yeah,
I still think she looks fucking fabulous.
But yeah, I can't really tell from this trailer because the trailer is more interested in cutting between Paradise City and shots of zombies getting their heads exploded.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
I
don't know if I'll see it in the theater or not. It'll depend on how many other good movies are out at the same time.
I have virtually no, like, I don't have any expectations. I'm not like, holy shit, there's going to be a new Resident Evil.
Right.
That's going to be great, because the last 4 have not been very good.
They're all the same, really.
Yeah. So.
Oh, hey, I had a thing.
Okay.
Did you see The Killing Joke? The new one.
So I didn't, sort of, is my answer.
Okay.
I wanted to watch it for the first time where I just skipped over the prologue and started where the comic book starts.
So you wouldn't be just like really mad at the whole thing?
Well, no, it wasn't for that. I planned on watching it twice, but then as I watched The Killing Joke, I was like, I don't think you can make The Killing Joke into a movie. I don't think it's or if you can, I think it would take, like, I don't even think it's a good animated feature at this point, because I mean, I want like a really, really good director to do it.
And, yeah.
And I also want it to be like 30 minutes long, because there's not enough story there for
a full feature
film. So I never got back. I've been planning on it, but I never got back to going back and then watching it from the very beginning to see all the new stuff that they added in. But then somebody told me about one of the things that happened at the beginning, and I was just like,
yeah.
Why?
I wanted to throw a table.
Okay.
I really wanted to like throw things across the room, because Barbara Gordon is my favorite character in the DC universe.
Yeah.
And just everything that they did with that, just feelings, lots of feelings. Watch it and then we'll talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. See, but I've started to come to the conclusion that I don't think that the direct Warner Brothers adaptations of comics are always a good thing. Agreed. Because Dark Knight Returns, they did that with a 2-parter, Bruce Wayne's real old and blah, blah, blah. They did 2 things in that really upset me. One, well, there was one thing that upset me, and then there's one just overall problem. That book has like little text panels above it. That's like the internal ravings of crazy ass Batman, of old crazy Batman, and it would have worked perfectly as a voiceover while he was doing stuff in the movie, and they didn't put it in there. Because there's a lot of stuff where the action that he's doing is really augmented by the internal monologue that he has about I'm the Dark Knight and blah, 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 blah. Dark and broody, dark and broody. Like for a perfect example is there's a scene where he fights this, the leader of the mutants, right? And they're in this mud pit, and the leader of the mutants has totally thrashed him before, and he's finally kind of trying to get back at him and get back into being Batman. And so he says he breaks the mutant's arm, and then he says, he's got the mutant in like some kind of lock, and he's like, "You don't understand. This isn't a mud pit. This is an operating theater." And then he breaks the guy's arm, right? And in the comic, there's a thing, and I can't remember. I don't think they did any voiceover in the movie, but in the comic, there's a thing where it says, "Something tells me to stop at the arm. I don't listen," and then it's just like crack, 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 crack. And it's like, but without that, it's a different scene, right? Also, Dark Knight Returns, as well as Killing Joke, as well as V for Vendetta, Watchmen. There's a bunch of stuff in comics that are classics that belong in the 1980s where they were created. Like V for Vendetta should never have been made in a movie, because V for Vendetta was about Margaret Thatcher. And so if you don't understand that, then you can't, it's not a timeless tale. It's basically a dystopian future that was started by Margaret Thatcher, and then the character of V shows up to liberate the world from this regime. The same, I feel like, is true with Dark Knight Returns, because it's very much the 80s. Like, you remember how everybody was afraid of gangs in the 80s, and that was like part of that. So anyway, we're going way off topic here.
I like it though. It's good stuff.
Resident Evil Final Chapter looks, I don't know. It looks like it. I mean, I don't know. It looks like something I watch on a weekend, and it'd be pretty fun, right? Just a bunch of stuff blowing up.
Some booze.
Yeah.
Watch it. It's cool.
Drink some beers, eat some popcorn.
Yay. Moving on.
All right. So next up we have okay, so this is actually one that I added before I sent all my links over to Jennifer. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more next week, but I don't know if you've been aware of this. Yeah. Metroid 2, there's a group out there that
making Nintendo mad.
Yeah. There's a group out there that created basically a Metroid 2 is a Game Boy Advance game, or regular Game Boy game, that is basically the direct sequel to Metroid, and it takes place before Super Metroid and in between Metroid. It's a fairly critical part of the Metroid storyline, but up until now, the only way to play it has been on the horrible green and black Game Boy Advance.
Hot.
This group of fans went back in and basically remade the entire game using art assets from Super Metroid, from Metroid Zero Mission, I believe, and then some original stuff. In order to kind of make a modern version of it.
Right.
And they put it up. And I played it, and it's fantastic. It's great. It
People
plays
are very
great.
excited.
Yep. And it's gone.
And noped.
Yep. Which is one of the most irritating things in the world, because Nintendo has been ignoring this franchise for so long. I mean, I don't know. How do you even feel about Metroid? Do you have any strong feelings one way or the other?
I love the character of Samus.
Yeah.
But, beyond that, I don't have any really strong feelings one way or the other. I know many people who are very devout fan people of the series.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess at this point, it's almost like, well, how could you be? Like, the last new Metroid game that came out was Metroid Other M, and that was on the Wii. That was on the
Wii. It's been a minute.
And that was considered to be like one of the worst Metroid games of all time. So then you have to go back even further to the Metroid Prime series. I don't know. It just seems like, I understand. I mean, I've been on this show before talking about how, like, you've got to protect your copyright if you're a company, right? You can't just let people run away and do whatever they want to with your stuff. But Nintendo has been letting this wonderful franchise with this wonderful character just languish in obscurity for, oh God, a whole console generation. There's not a single Wii U Metroid game. The DS didn't have any. I think the Game Boy Advance Metroid Fusion. Oh wait, they've got the dumb new one that's coming out.
Oh,
next
we don't
week.
talk. No, we
Federation
don't. We don't
Force.
talk about that.
Yeah, which isn't even really a Metroid game.
No.
So I don't know. Like, I understand that Nintendo is a stuffy old company that
They just need to get over it. Just come into the modern world and let people have the content they want to freaking have. Come on.
or charge for it.
Yeah, like just have
Charge
them,
for it.
have them give you part of the fucking proceeds or whatever the fuck, and let them do the goddamn thing.
This thing is totally free. Like, I mean, you know, that's the way they were trying to get around it was
Rude.
It's totally free.
It's
so
going to lead to more sales. People are going to get excited about the series again. They're going to go back and buy old stuff.
and by taking it down, you have exactly the opposite effect, right? It just kind of makes you look like an asshole.
Yeah, and you give people a bad taste in their mouth when they think of your products.
Right. And so yeah.
Dislike.
I'm going to do that as well. I'm going to hit the little angry button on Facebook.
I agree.
Even though I don't like to do that.
Do it.
All right.
Show your displeasure.
Next up, I pulled this story just for you, basically.
I know you did.
Final Fantasy 15. Last week, they announced a season pass, a digital edition, and a season pass, and I was a little
Shut up and take my money.
crappy with them because I'm like, you got to tell me what's going to be in your season pass. We got a little bit more information about season pass.
A tiny bit.
6 DLCs, which are
How about that mini soundtrack, though?
booster pack, episode Gladio,
A
episode
Leviathan something.
holiday pack, episode Ignis, episode Prompto, and an expansion pack. DLC 6 expansion pack. I want them to actually name that. Don't put a regular name on it. It's like,
Just expansion pack. That's all you
all right,
get.
so this February we're putting out DLC number 6 expansion pack. It
Just
expands.
call it the booster pack. It's cool.
Right. And then, yeah, as you
dig it.
pointed out, there's all this stuff that you can get.
You get shit.
Yeah, Masamune, 16-bit recolor, Angler set.
I don't know how I feel about all that. I'm like,
Themes.
nah. Just give me more game.
What I'm interesting. Oh, okay, I understand what this says now. When I first read this, Xbox avatar items on the Xbox, Carbuncle pet, mini soundtrack.
I have always been a fan of Carbuncle. He's adorable.
I think somebody tried to come at me once about whether in the Final Fantasy 15 demo the little thing was a carbuncle, and they were like, "That's not a carbuncle. That's like Ruby something." And I'm like, "No." And I went to
Carbuncle. They've said it's Carbuncle. What are you doing?
images.google.com and typed in carbuncle, and I'm just like, "No."
Popped up.
Boom.
Boom. Do
anyway,
you even Final Fantasy, bro?
yeah. So I guess the thing that this is one of the problems that you have with season passes is we still need to know what the shit is in all of these. Like, are
It's a
episode
mystery.
Gladio,
It's a mystery
episode
meat.
Ignis, and episode Prompto, are these just like a 2-mission
Probably.
BS?
Just like an additional peek into their lives.
Also, I mean, okay, look, Jeff, I'm not trying to start a fight with you, but
Oh.
Gladio, Ignis, and Prompto, along with Nocti. I mean, I'm not saying that we should have had like Joe, Peter, and Larry, but like, you know, I'd
have gone for a Larry.
I mean, Titus, Kane, Lightning, like these are people's names that I can remember. Cecil, like Warrior of Light. I don't know. You take your pick as to what it is, but
Prompto's not doing it for you?
Prompto? That's not even a thing. That's not even like...
It's Latin based, bro.
Yeah, I know, but...
Do you even Latin?
No, I don't. So that means that...
Well, I don't either, but I recognize its roots.
Yeah. Okay, great.
All right.
All right.
That's very exciting.
I'm just gonna
All right, Final Fantasy 15.
Yep.
More shit.
Okay, now for our weekly Pokemon update.
Yes, my favorite.
You could tell me about this since you Pokemon Go.
I do.
Apparently they've added back in the like how far away is your Pokemon or like a beta version of it.
It's weird. It's like, so it used to be in the screen in the bottom right hand corner, you get a little Tetris bar that tells you 3 or 4 Pokemon that are close by, right?
Okay.
And then you can click on it and it brings you up a whole chart of up to like 9 Pokemon or whatever that are within an area.
Okay.
And there were these cute little footprints underneath them that told you
how far away.
Close and far away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've gotten rid of that. And now it's just you pull up the thing and it's a Pokemon in front of a little blade of grass.
Okay.
And it gives you no gauge for how close or far they are, just that they are somewhere in the area, maybe.
So it's not like
I find it to be redundant and awful.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to tell you anything.
I'd rather almost not know at all if I have no idea what direction they're in.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
But it's fine. I mean, a lot of the other things that they're cleaning up in the app I've found to be useful.
Okay.
My app no longer force quits itself all the time.
Oh, that's always useful.
It used to have this thing where it would just freeze all the goddamn time every time I was at a gym, and it killed me. I'm now level 17.
Okay.
It's good stuff. I finally have a Pokemon that has a CP of over 1,000.
I have no idea what that means.
So it means it's I'm getting into the not quite so much of a noob.
Okay.
I've taken several gyms this week. I took the gym at Crowbar after roller derby practice on Monday.
All
had
right.
myself a cocktail. They have amazing cocktails, by the way, at Crowbar if
Love
you've
that
never
Moscow
been.
Mule. Yep. We used to hang out there all the time.
God, they have one right now with this lavender gin that's just fucking amazing. It's
Lavender
good.
gin.
Yeah, super good.
The other thing, though, that I noticed about this was apparently there's now a thing that says...
Oh, yeah, this is funny.
You're going too fast. That,
and it happens anytime over, 15 miles per hour.
So if you're running and you're trying to... Well, I guess you could...
You really couldn't run that fast.
Run that fast, but
if you're biking or driving in a car, you have to click that thing to let them know that you're not driving. But you can... If you're driving, you can still do it. People are still going to be stupid.
Well, that's what I love about this is so that apparently the accelerometer, it pulls up this thing that says you're going too fast. Pokemon Go should not be played while driving. But then there's just a big button that says, yo, man, I'm a passenger. And it's like, do you think that anybody who's actually going to Pokemon in their car is not just going to tap that button and just keep on throwing balls?
Nah, bro.
Yep. So, yeah. But at least they're doing stuff. Last week, I know that it was all just like everybody was like, I hate him so much. Fucking I hate him.
I don't hate it. I still dig it. I still play it. I'm a fan.
Okay. Also,
Judge Judy.
a New Jersey man is suing Niantic because
he's a curmudgeon and not in a fun way.
Okay. Listen, I'm going to be on this guy's side in the fact of like, okay, Pokemon Go players, if you're walking around your neighborhood and there's like a fucking diamond level Mewtwo or something and you can see that it's in somebody's backyard, don't knock on the person's door.
It doesn't work that way, though.
That's what somebody pointed out in the comments, that it doesn't even work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
But this guy is saying that basically there's Pokemon in his backyard and that people keep knocking on his door and asking to go in his backyard to catch Pokemon, which apparently is not even the way that it works. And he's suing them.
I really fail to see how this is any different from something that happened to me this last week, which is knock on my front door in the middle of my day. I open the door and my neighbor is standing there going, hey, my kid knocked a soccer ball into your backyard. Can we go get it?
Yeah.
Like, it's really not any more of an inconvenience than that. Really, people, we don't need to be that completely and totally antisocial.
Yeah.
Just chill. You can say no.
Yeah.
Or, hey, if you have a problem with people coming onto your property in general, post a sign. Don't knock on my door asking about Pokemon.
Sure.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Or you get a big dog that barks a lot.
There's a thing in the app that says don't trespass onto people's property to play Pokemon. Like, just be kind. Don't be a dick.
I guess the one thing that would be kind of interesting, though, is if Niantic, if they had some way to like verify, like if you wanted to go online and be like, okay, here's my driver's license and my social security number, and I live here, and I would like for you to like not have anything. I like dead zone, not
my area,
not in my area, but just in
like
my house,
in my way,
my property, like on the line of my property. I want you to basically like block that out and say, no, we're not going to spawn anything here.
The thing of the app is that the traffic, like the data that they use to make the traffic in the app, it populates Pokemon on footpath areas.
Okay.
So the odds of you finding something in your house or in your backyard are slim because those aren't registered areas of people coming in and out.
Okay.
So you're not going to find many in that area anyway. You've like driving through my neighborhood going 5 miles an hour or whatever. There's barely anything other than
so you don't trip the accelerometer.
The microphone just took a nosedive to my chest. That was it, just like right on my boob.
Yep,
that's great.
We'll just tighten this up.
I don't know. I fidget with it, which is what happens, and then it falls like every time. See, now it's even worse.
Oh.
You just made it worse.
Oh, God damn it!
God damn it, Jeff! I can't take you anywhere. I'm just gonna hold it. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, even just driving through my neighborhood, I can go through my entire neighborhood and maybe catch 2 Pokemon. That's it. Because it's all residential.
Okay.
There's nothing there. You have to go off the beaten path and onto a walking path in order to find Pokemon.
Okay.
People stop being curmudgeons. Just let people play. Just don't be a dick.
I've started to see fewer and fewer people. It used to be that when I walked my dog in the middle of the night, I'd see at least 4 or 5 people out there with their cell phones.
Yeah, I haven't seen any. Well, it's also
like
god-awful hot in Texas right now.
Well, yeah, there is that.
Just god-awful. Yeah, so it goes both ways. Don't be a dick when people want to, like, come look for Pokemon. Just post a sign if you're not about it.
Sure.
Don't be a dick if you're hunting Pokemon.
Sure.
Like, don't trespass on people's shit. Don't get in anybody's way. Don't inconvenience anybody. And you're good.
Yeah. I mean, that's just,
the end.
We don't even have to do the rest of it. It's basically just don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. Period.
Are you like? Here's the thing. You're about to do something, and if you even have to ask yourself,
is this dickish?
Now, is this a dick move or is this not a dick move? Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Just go do something else instead. Just do
we need a flow
else.
chart.
Yeah,
like a flow chart. Like, is this a dick move? Don't be a dick.
Right.
Do you think this might be a dick move? Don't be a dick.
You can always ask yourself, would uptight Jeff do this? And if the answer is no,
he would not make eye contact with the cute girl at the bar and try to get her phone number.
Yep.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. See what you did there? You turned it back around on me.
I would actually say that the being a dick move is the not getting her phone number.
Oh man. Well, let's again.
Uranium.
We gotta look in a different direction. Just go in a different direction. Speaking of Pokemon, let's pivot away from Jeff's
there's
life.
a Venonat here in your office.
What's that?
There's a Venonat here in your office.
Oh,
it's very exciting.
Get it out of here.
I'm doing it. I am going to relieve you of your pest.
So yeah, speaking of, I don't know why these guys decided to do this today, yesterday, right after the whole Metroid 2 thing, but apparently like there's a fan created Pokemon that came out.
Yep.
And it's free. It's called Pokemon Uranium version. Just like Metroid 2, I'm going to recommend that if you have any interest in this, just go download it immediately.
Because you won't be able to for long.
Probably won't be there for a huge amount of time. I mean, I've never really done Pokemon, ever. So I downloaded this, but it's...
Oh, you did?
It's real...
I find it interesting that it says they've been working on it for 9 years.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
It's real raw. Like, I can't get it to go... It won't go full screen, and like it doesn't have controller support, and I can't remap my controls to it. So it's real rough right now, but...
But does it have potential?
I don't know. I opened it up, and when it wouldn't go full screen or work with controls, I was like, I'm going to go play more of that Metroid 2 that does go full screen and have full control support. So,
I guess.
Yep. All right, and now on to the only good thing about news this week, which is the trailers. So our first trailer this week is we got a Titanfall 2 single-player trailer with a bunch of jumping and shooting and city turning, and there's robots
giant
and
mechs.
There's big mechs and small mechs, and
was that Cerebro? That looked like Cerebro.
That was Magneto.
Great.
And then we got Voss from Far Cry 3 in there for a second, telling us the definition of insanity.
Bit of everything.
Yeah,
a little bit of everything. Something for everyone.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks pretty. the single player, I mean, I don't know. It looks like it's shaping up to be a good single player campaign. Infinity Ward, or I guess Respawn back when they were Infinity Ward, they made Modern Warfare 4, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, which is one of my favorite first-person single-player campaigns of all time. So,
yeah, that's the one that I played all the way through.
Yeah, it was a good single-player campaign.
I enjoyed playing it. And I don't normally enjoy that kind of game, but I did.
It kind of like had something to say, which I enjoyed about it. But there's some weird stuff going on in this trailer, like this whole rotating city thing.
It's got a very Inception kind of thing going on.
Yeah, and then we got like a cyber, like a bot, like bots driving bots.
That reminds me of the bad guy from Darkness Falls, the Tooth Fairy.
Okay.
Yeah. With that mask.
But yeah, looks good. Can't wait to play it.
Happening.
We'll see what's happening. Next up, we have the trailer for a new trailer for Final Fantasy Dissidia.
Yes.
Which it was like Jennifer and I were playing a game of like, all right, which Final Fantasy? Who is this guy? And then by the time we got up to the more modern stuff, it was like, oh, they're just going in order. They're literally just going 1, 2, 3, 4.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. Hey, they brought out my bae, Tara Branford. It's gonna be a good day.
They so you've not ever actually gotten into Dissidia on the. I mean,
it's actually currently on my list of games to get because you know me, big Final Fantasy buff. I eventually want to have every game that has to do with the Final Fantasy VII universe, and
right?
So this definitely qualifies.
Well, do you have a PSP? I mean, you played
I do.
Crisis Core, right? So, I actually really enjoyed Dissidia. There's a kind of game that Japan makes that's like these kind of.
It's like Soul Calibur. It's that same kind of feel.
It's like a third person. Everybody's flying around, and it's mostly one-on-one fights. I feel like a lot of the Naruto and Dragon Ball Z games are like this.
Oh yeah.
But I like this one better because
it's pretty.
Well, it probably speaks to why people like those Dragon Ball Z and Naruto games. I know who all these characters are.
Right.
Like I don't know who anybody in the Dragon Ball Z game is, so I'm just like, all right.
But you played all these games, so you have an emotional attachment to these characters.
Right. So when I was playing it on the PSP, and I leveled my Cloud up to the point where he could one-shot everybody, and I'm just like,
done.
That's right. Done.
I love
Boom.
that Terra, they throw in her Esper form as well as her main character form.
I like the fact that Kefka slaps his ass at you. Kefka,
as he does.
He's such a weird villain.
He's nothing if not flamboyant.
He's like the weirdest Final Fantasy villain of all time.
I love him. I think
bizarre.
I might cosplay as Kefka.
Yeah?
Yes, and just troll everybody.
Okay, so this is obviously, obviously in this trailer.
Why does Squall have a red blade going on there?
It's everybody's like alternate costume though, right?
Yeah.
So
it looks like they're all. Some of them are fighting themselves, and so there's two variants of their costume.
I think everybody is fighting themselves, but I think that the difference in costume is that this is his outfit from not Crisis Core, the movie. Which one?
Advent Children.
Advent Children, with all the big long.
Versus the one across from it, which is very much the game.
Which looks like just standard Final Fantasy VII. So that's the alternate here, and then Cloud.
I think
Squall.
that one pant skirt thing would just get in the way, and it reminds me way too much of the dress sphere thing from 10. I'm not about it.
Okay. I was about to ask what your feelings were about the
I'm
dress
not about
sphere
it.
from 10.
I am just not about it.
Not a fan.
Got some Zidane action going on.
Yeah. I think it's sad when they do these because for those of you who've never played Dissidia before, it's like, oh, we picked one warrior from every Final Fantasy universe and brought them all together to fight all of the villains. Why did they pick
Titus?
Because he's the
why
as opposed to what?
Auron or Lulu.
Yep.
Someone interesting. Fuck, I'd take Waka. Hell, I'd take Kimari over Titus. I will take anybody in any game ever over Titus.
I love talking to Final Fantasy fans about Titus because everybody fucking hates Titus so much.
Well, that should tell you something.
And
we all agree.
I don't like him either, but there's a level of vitriol.
If we could just cast silence on him for the rest of his life. I would loathe him less.
This is the only one that's really weird to me is, let's see what the costume is on who he's fighting. The kid from Final Fantasy 12, but he's dressed up in the...
He's a pirate.
This is weird, though, because, he doesn't... Okay, yep, that's him. That's his regular outfit over there. Anyway. And that's Lightning. That's her outfit.
Hey, girl. Hey.
That's Final Fantasy 13-3, her, like, goddess.
See, again, with that
outfit.
one-sided skirt shit. You
Yep.
get that shit all caught up in your legs when you're trying to fight. Makes no sense to me.
Now, wait a minute. You're not honestly a fan of Square Enix games. You're complaining about asynchronous clothing where one side is just all zippers and sleeves and the other side is just like a regular outfit.
No. I'm just complaining about
That's fully...
it only being one side. There's nothing to weigh it down, so it's going to get caught.
You're just going to be walking, like, leaning. You're going to be leaning to one side.
That ghetto lean.
But I don't know. This looks really cool.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We need to play it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I like the way it looks.
I dig.
All right. Next up on the trailer parade, we have... This is... Okay, so... I think I already know the answer to that. Well, I don't know. Do you read Berserk? Have you ever watched Berserk, the anime?
I did read some of that when I was growing up.
Because I've always been kind of interested in it. I hear it's really kind of dark and violent.
That's what I heard.
But I also know that apparently Miyazaki, who made Dark, like apparently there's a lot of like Berserk references in Dark Souls that I'm just not understanding, and because I'm so into that,
you're not on the up and up.
Yeah. But there's a new trailer for this Berserk game that's being made, obviously, by the what do you call that game? Stupid Warriors, Dragon Warrior, not Samurai, Dynasty Warriors, where you got 1 million guys who all run up to you and stand still, and then you just kill a whole bunch of them, and it eventually gets boring.
Yay!
I mean, this does look a lot more bloody and brutal, but it still looks like
the same thing.
It still looks like Dynasty Warriors. Like, this guy's surrounded by enemies, and none of them are bothering to attack him even
and he's
once.
just maiming.
Yeah. He's just doing his big
run
sword.
up and stand.
So, I don't know. This one is one I'll maybe keep an eye on. It's being developed by Omega Force. They did
I wasn't wowed.
Fist of the North Star game and a few other things, but If you have a, by the way, gentle listener, if you have a good starting point for Berserk, I'm willing to listen, but I get this problem where, you know, some of these mangas that have been out for like 10 years and it's like, oh, well, you know, you can read volumes 1 through 625, but you can skip volume 254 and volume 695.
Weird.
And yeah. All right, now we're going to come to the part of the trailers that I like to call Let's Go Swimming, because they're all water-based. First up,
I love that you name it.
Yeah,
that's great.
We've got Just Cause. We got another Just Cause, and this is the Bavarium Sea Heist. Boy, they just won't let this one go.
Nope.
Just Cause 3 got really it was really mediocre. I think Matt Frack and I played the one where they brought in robots.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, there's a giant orbital laser, and you get to shoot it at stuff, but I feel like Just Cause has kind of got.
Who doesn't enjoy a giant orbital laser? I'm just saying.
Well, have you played Just Cause?
No, oh God, no.
Okay.
Nope.
There are roughly 1 billion ways to make everything blow up into 1 million fireballs, and they're like,
I demand 1 million, really.
Hey, check out this DLC. Here's 1,000,001 ways to blow, and it's like, man, I already have too many ways to blow
gratuitous
stuff up.
and not in a fun way.
Also, I don't know about you, but they're just like, oh man, check out this hot boat. Like,
boats just never really did it for me. I mean, I'm more of like a submarine aircraft carrier kind of girl.
Yeah.
Navy brat. What can I say?
I mean, I
live around ships.
I like being able to shoot the giant laser. And
that's fun. I do enjoy a good giant laser.
I like the fact that everything is turquoise now as opposed to
I like the lighting.
Red.
That's fun.
But other than that, I don't think I'll be buying the Bavarium Sea Heist.
Nah.
Because
that would make a great metal band name, though.
Bavarium Sea Heist.
Yes.
Up next, Bavarium Sea Heist. BioShock Revisit Rapture trailer is out.
Yay!
This is mostly just environmental stuff from BioShock 1, which, you know, holds up,
just
looks good.
Cleaner. Mm-hmm. More sexy.
Yep.
More horrific.
Yep. Having played...
Speaking of turquoise lighting.
Yeah. Having just played recently back through the DLCs for BioShock Infinite, I like Rapture a lot.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they made 2 games in Rapture because it's an interesting place. Columbia is cool, don't get me wrong. I like Columbia, but I like Rapture because the kind of dank underwater feel makes everything feel real, you know, kind of claustrophobic. So
yes, I definitely agree with you on that.
But I can't wait to play this.
This was actually one of the first horror games that I watched someone play.
Mm-hmm.
Other than like way early growing up stuff like Oddworld, Abe's Exodus.
Right.
Abe's Odyssey?
That was
Abe's
the
Exodus.
Odyssey was the first one. Exodus was the sequel.
Yeah. So other than like those, this was my first like to watch, just straight up watch horror game.
Yeah.
It's good.
I guess it kind of is a horror game, isn't it?
It's pretty.
I always thought of it as an action game, but it kind of
I mean,
straddles the
me,
line a little bit.
At the time, it's horror-y.
Okay. No, I can see that. I mean, the first time that you have to go try to take down a Big Daddy, I think the main problem with BioShock, and maybe I need to go back and play it this way, is that death was too meaningless because you just popped right back out of those Vita chambers. So
right.
I learned early on that it was easier to take down a Big Daddy by just running up to it and hitting it with the wrench, because you just come back and then you just run out and hit it some more, and then you just come back and hit it some more. And you can turn those off in some of the later...
Death is only the beginning.
Later things, but yeah. All right, next up. This is one that I pulled up, and I wasn't entirely sure that I was going to actually have on the show, but this is...
I was real excited for the first like 20 seconds of the trailer, and then it went into the actual gameplay, and I was like, oh, it's not that pretty.
This is Diluvian. Is that what this is called? Diluvian. And apparently, like, at one point, there was a war above on the surface, and the gods froze all the water, and everybody's learning how to live underwater, Rapture style. And this is kind of like a submarine wing commander, kind of driving your submarine around, looking for stuff at the bottom of the ocean, having sub fights and stuff. And I don't know. I think it looks pretty. I like the art style to it quite a bit.
Yeah, I do like the art style.
I'd be a real sucker for underwater stuff. I'm
a sucker for pretty art in a game, which is why I really enjoyed playing Oxenfree and Yearwalk.
Yeah,
they're just so pretty.
I like this. I need to go back. I played last week. I downloaded and played Journey, just like in a single sitting again.
Nice.
Oh man, that game is great. It's so good. Which I have feelings about that I'm not going to go into. Anyway, Diluvian looks good. This is a small one, but it's supposed to be out relatively shortly, and it looks... I like this giant sea spider thing at the end that's got like a...
Who doesn't enjoy a good giant sea spider?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I don't like land spiders, but sea spiders. And then last but certainly not least, this was also a really, really interesting trailer for...
Yeah, this one's intriguing.
Orwell. And this is like... It seems like this is like a lot like Papers, Please, where it's all about you getting like a fake internet where you have been selected to like scour other people's social media and like...
You're trolling people, basically.
Yeah, but you're like looking for evidence that they are doing anti-government things and then like submitting that and like clipping it and trying to like... It's real weird. If it's anything like Papers, Please, I think it's a topic of conversation that doesn't come up nearly enough as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And it was one of those things that like Watch Dogs probably could have done but never really bothered to actually like get all the way into. But I like this. I mean, it seems like the sort of thing that if they are able to pull enough of this together, since it doesn't look like it has, it's got this kind of like weird angular Photoshop filter graphic style to it. It seems like the sort of game where you could make a lot of content because it's just fake blog posts and stuff like that.
So it's relatively simple in layout.
Yeah. I really like this trailer, though, because they kind of show everything and from the perspective of this person who gets an email saying like, oh man, do you want to be part of this organization that's doing this stuff? And at the very end, the player posts to social media, I can tell you about my job, but I have to make you disappear. And then it pulls back one thing and like somebody else is watching this person with that.
And like submits it.
Yeah. Submits that information to Orwell. Also, can I just say real briefly, I understand the symbolism, but if this is the real world, you would never call your monitoring agency Orwell.
Right? Like, let's be a little more obvious. Just call it Big Brother.
Right.
Just do it.
Yeah. They would call it something like Operation Total Awesome Freedom Bro, or, like We All Love Chocolate.com. It's the government website that monitors everybody. So... But yeah, this looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll play it.
I've never heard of these guys before, and I like what I see here. So, oh wait, what's going on? Let's see. It says late 2016. They've actually got a Steam page for it, and it doesn't have a direct release date. But
Boop.
yeah. All right. Well, let's finish up this news segment. I'm actually going to cut a bunch of these things.
Oh, wait, don't cut that one.
Okay.
I'm excited about this.
The PC version of Deus Ex Mankind Divided is going to have an eye tracking feature. Yeah.
That's some jam right there. So the VR company that I'm working with is working on a way of making a film content more interactive in that very way, like using eye tracking kinds of things to determine what's going to happen, so that you're not just watching, like you're not just standing in one place watching a thing happen. If you look at a certain thing, something happens. If you look over here, something happens.
Okay.
I dig that this is a thing that they're incorporating into games. This makes me really excited to see, because it makes it much more easy to do like immersive VR experiences in gaming.
Well, I think I dig. There's some of the things that I think is really interesting. Like, okay, so just to go down the list, you've got aim at a glance, which is players will be able to aim at a target using their eyes rather than the camera. Extended view, camera will pan when a player looks towards the edge of the screen. So this will give you a wider field of vision and control of what they use. The one that I think I like more than anything about this list of features is the one called Clean UI, where if you're not glancing at like the UI elements in the corners, it will hide them or make them transparent. And then when you glance at them, it'll bring them back into focus. I really like that.
It's unique, and I am very excited to see where that goes and what they do with it.
Okay.
And that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. I mean, Mankind Divided is like 2 weeks away, so we'll get to see.
I knew nothing really about that game series. And when I was at E3, I sat at the Squaresoft booth, or the Square Enix booth, for at least an hour and a half in front of their ginormous TV that was just playing their trailers. And they had like a good 35 minute shtick on all of that stuff. Yeah. And it looks really freaking good. Like they gave you backstory of the original stuff, and they gave you this like movie thing, and really cool looking.
Did they ever put out a version of the last one on PS4? Because that's a real fun game.
I don't know. I knew nothing about it until I saw the advertisements.
If you're planning on
really good,
if you're planning on playing this one, it's probably worth playing that.
I would play the original first.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to go all the way back to Deus Ex 1 and 2, because I think that Mankind Divided. Wait, this is Mankind Divided. Human Revolution, I believe, takes place before the original Deus Ex 1 and Deus Ex 2.
Oh, okay.
So this is actually all kind of a prequel setting. But Adam Jensen's character really does get super fleshed out in the first one. So
yeah, good stuff. I'm excited.
Let's see. StarCraft is probably going to be seeing an HD version of StarCraft come out this year. Which is cool. I mean, the original still kind of holds up because it's all sprite-based.
People are still obsessed with that game.
But yeah, considering how much people love StarCraft, it's fine. I mean, I just am excited that we're going to get all the cutscenes from the original StarCraft made in the StarCraft 2 engine, because Blizzard makes cutscenes like crazy.
They do. The cutscenes are like, whoa, BlizzCon's coming up.
I don't understand this next one. Apparently, Quantum Break is coming to Steam in September.
Yeah, it was just on Windows, and now it's coming to Steam.
Yeah, it came out on the Xbox One, and you could buy it through the Windows Game Store on Windows 10.
Right.
But I thought that they were going to leave it there, because Microsoft's actually done that with a few things. Like I remember back when Halo 2 came out, and it was like supposed to be an incentive to upgrade to Windows XP, because you could only buy it on Windows XP. And so having it just generally come to Steam.
Do you think that's like a sales thing? They didn't sell well enough, so it's retiring to Steam kind of a thing?
Maybe, but it seems like if they were going to do that, I don't know. Microsoft is the sort of company that I don't expect to. This may be a really uncharitable and shitty way to think about Microsoft, but Microsoft isn't the kind of company that I expect to look at something that's going poorly and go, we should probably do something different with that. Having actually worked for Microsoft and read a bunch of their press releases, I get the feeling that they're just like, well, that's a loss. Just fire everybody and let's move on to the next thing. Let's not try to
fire everyone and fuck it.
Fucking Windows 8 never brought back the start menu.
Gross.
Never. It's just
don't talk about it.
Black. Anyway,
Yep.
September 14th, $40, you'll be able to get Quantum Break Timeless Collector's Edition on Steam. I never played all the way through it.
Nope.
I'd kind of like a chance to go back and try it, not on my Xbox One. I'm going to skip this. There's some Destiny 2 concepts.
Whoopee, concept boards. Yay. More art stuff. Cool.
And last but not least, Super Hot is getting a card game adaptation.
Could be fun.
Have you ever played Super Hot?
I've watched it being played, but I've not played it myself.
I don't understand how a super hot card game would work.
I don't either, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
I am intrigued.
The game is so dependent on the whole movement.
The motion, yeah.
I mean, I guess it could be the sort of thing. I mean, I don't know. What is it? Maybe you can only play cards when somebody else is playing cards. Like everybody has to play cards at the same time or something like that. I don't know.
We'll have to see.
But yeah. Anyway,
I'm intrigued.
It seems like card games or card/board games based on video games have gone up by a factor of like 6,000%. There's a Dark Souls board game or that they kickstarted, and it seems like every few months there's a Bloodborne one that they're talking about and some other stuff. So
cool. I love that board games are coming back.
Yeah.
People are into it.
Yeah.
Yay. We did it.
I heard there's a bar downtown where it's just like people go and drink and play board games at the bar.
What?
Yeah.
Let's go do that. That sounds great.
All right. Well, that is all the news that we have. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we are going to answer your questions.
All them questions.
So stick around. And we're back.
Woo!
It's time for questions. Actually, before we get to the questions, Jennifer, I have a problem.
Jeff has feelings, folks.
I have a story to tell. I have a brief story to tell, and this is actually a request for assistance, or maybe just somebody to go, that's bullshit. So
I can do that.
Okay. So No Man's Sky came out.
That's bullshit.
Okay, good. Great. All right.
Moving on.
That's the internet for you. Hey, No Man's Sky came out. That's bullshit, man. All right, cool.
What's that thing again? Oh, it's a game? Nah, that's bullshit.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Go outside. Will you spend your entire life playing video games? Yes.
Pokemon Go, that's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
Go back in your basement and play games like a real gamer.
Go back inside. What are you, outside? Go inside and play video games like a real...
Yeah.
So
No Man's Sky.
So I was playing No Man's Sky, and we're playing. There's a Patreon video actually where you can watch this all unfold in real time. And I found a crashed ship with Amanda, and I was like, "Great! I've been wanting a new ship. The starter ship is garbage. I want a new ship." And it's like you can repair this ship by you need like this and this and this, and then you need this, and then you need this one part. And I couldn't make that part because there's a whole crafting system. Can't make the part. Have to buy the part. So it's like, okay. I've got a ton of money. I'm saving up for a ship, but fortune has smiled upon me. So I get my ship. I take off. I go to this outpost. I find a place where I can buy the part that I need. So I buy the part, and then I take off. And at that point, I noticed that, like, okay, so in No Man's Sky, there's a system where you will ping the world, and it'll bring up like an icon of a thing, like a point of interest, right?
Right.
So a lot of times, that point of interest is like, oh, it's generic alien settlement number 6 billion, or here's a big monolith that'll teach you the alien word for carrots or whatever. And then when you go to that place and you do the thing that's there and you lift off, that icon now goes away. The problem that I had was that once I got all these parts, the icon for where that ship was crashed, gone. And this is a big open world. It doesn't have any real... I mean, the terrain looks similar. It's the size of a planet. And I'm like, well, how would I ever get back to where this crashed ship is? Like, I could have taken the ship, but it wouldn't have been able to fly, and then I would have been stuck on foot for the rest of my life because I would have had to walk for miles to find a place where I could buy this part. And I spent like a good 45 minutes to 2 hours driving or like flying my ship around trying to figure out a way to find this. And it seems like one of those like a huge oversight in the development part of like, I just want to go back to this thing that I already found. Like I went and I got all the stuff and I was trying to get the ship.
Yeah, you should be able to put like a GPS point on your map system or something.
That's another thing that I realized is that there is no map. Like there's a little compass that has like points of interest on it, but as near as I can tell, I mean, and this is like, I'm not trying to criticize Hello Games. If there's a way to do this, please tell me in the comments. Or if they put in a patch, that's fine. But, like, there is no way to just bring up a map of the world and put a waypoint down. It's like you have to find these beacons, and then you hack them, and then you ask them to scan it, puts a point of interest up, and you can go do that. But all I was trying to do was just go back to this place that I had found previously, and it was on a huge planet full of, all kinds of places. So I couldn't find it. And it was really irritating to the point where I had to just be like, all right, No Man's Sky, you and I we're gonna take a quick break. I've got to go play Metroid 2 or do some other stuff, because it just seemed like the sort of thing where, I don't know, I'm having a hard time with that game, because I'm not, I am a machine sent from the future to destroy mankind, but I've got feelings just like all the rest of the machines that were sent from the future to destroy mankind. I just don't know if I'm really interested in being like, oh, look, this planet's purple and it rains acid rain, and I've been to 12 other planets, and that one was on fire, and this one was super cold, and this one has a bunch of beetles on it, this one has a bunch of other stuff, and then all you do is go there and you mine resources and you sell them and you buy some stuff, and then you just kind of rinse and repeat over and over again. And I'm just like, I just don't know if that's the sort of thing that appeals to me.
The Star Trek life is not for you, bro.
But let's see. I've been watching a bunch of Star Trek. Shit happens in Star Trek. There's a big alien ooze monster that shoots at you. The Borg show up. Q's there in your face, making stuff happen.
Maybe you just haven't gone to the right part of the galaxy yet.
Yeah, maybe so. But in this whole, it's an infinite galaxy, I'm like, I could have to go a long way before I find Q or the sludge monster or something. So far, I've just found a bunch of robots and cat people sitting around.
Yay, cat people.
Yeah. And they're like, blah, 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 blah. And I understand one word of what they say. And I'm just like, okay. But yeah. So if anybody out there, I guess what I'm asking is, if anybody out there knows how to get back to a place that you once were, well, by the time this podcast goes up, I will have abandoned that ship.
I will want to know. So, tell us the things.
It was weird. Anyway, mail@ragelight.com is the email address to send in your questions. And this week, our first question is from Niall, who says, Dear Jennifer and Jeff, as always, thank you for the amusing content, distracting all of your faithful listeners from the horror of modern living in a way that our ancestors would be unlikely to be able to comprehend. That's right.
We try. We do try.
Anyway, on with my question. Can you think of examples where computer games, that's what we call video games in the UK, have caused you to feel real things with your human heart, as well as the anger, excitement, and happiness that quickly fade? Can you think of a time where they have left lasting emotions that linger long after the power button is pressed? Hate, envy, regret, grief, arousal. And it says, we are all adults, so I assume we could talk about it without giggling like schoolgirls. That is an incorrect assumption. I am still haunted by a decision that I made in The Walking Dead. After yet another fuck up by Ben, I decided to let him fall to his death rather than save him. However, he only fell far enough to break both legs, and I was treated to the sight of him screaming in pain as he was eaten alive by zombies. Of course, I reloaded and saved him, but I knew what I had done. Have you played The Walking Dead Season 1?
I don't zombie, so absolutely not.
Ben is a tool. That motherfucker is a tool and a half. I dropped him too, and I didn't feel bad about it at all. Another example was when I let the hostages die in Mass Effect Bring Down the Sky. I don't even know what that is. Can still remember seeing their charred corpses and knowing it was entirely due to my choices. They actually put me off finishing the game for a good 5 years. I think it was more powerful than the white phosphorus scene in Spec Ops: The Line, as that decision was forced on you. Thanks for taking the time to read and answer, and keep up the damn fine work. May Don Cleese always stand erect and proud. Your loyal patron, Niall. So we're talking about big bad feels in video games.
That's such a good question.
Yeah.
It's such a great question, and I have a very easy answer.
All right, go for it.
Guess.
Okay.
Take a guess.
Let's see. Is it when Aerith dies in Final Fantasy VII?
Yes. If by extreme emotions you mean cackling in glee. Oh. Yes. Because I am the world's best troll of Final Fantasy VII, and my favorite ship in the Final Fantasy universe is Cloud and Sephiroth as a couple.
Oh.
So every time I see him swoop in to destroy Aerith, it's because, bitch, get your hands off my man! And then Ska! And then she's dead, and then I'm like, that's what you get for touching his woman, his man. That's what you get. Girl, trying to steal his man. How dare you? Don't you know he's crazy?
Both 7 and 8, the protagonist and the antagonist have this real kind of moody looking at each other.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, man.
I ship Squall and Cypher as well.
We are so strong, and we're going to gaze hatefully into each other's eyes.
Or we're going to make out. One of the two.
It just reminds me of, you remember in Zoolander, there's that weird scene where Will Ferrell throws the coffee in his assistant's face, and they're both just going like, and then they start
and then they're like,
at each other. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it. Crisis Core makes you feel all of the feels.
Okay.
And I know that it's not just me and my fangirldom for Final Fantasy VII, because my favorite streamer, eSwoogie, who is a partnered streamer on Twitch,
okay,
ESWOOGI, go check him out. He's a speedrunner for Final Fantasy VII, and one night, like 6 months ago, he did like a Netflix and chill night on his stream where he took a YouTube video that was all of the cutscenes from Crisis Core put into one big long movie without all of the game footage.
Does it work that way?
Oh, it does.
Okay.
It does. I mean, there are little things that happen in the storyline that you don't get in the cutscenes, but for the most part, it works really well as just a movie. And by the end of it, there were like 65 people in his chat room who were all like, oh God, I'm crying so bad right now. And Isugi, he was on the stream. So we're just sitting there listening to him like sniffle and like cry about it. All of the fucking feels in Final Fantasy VII. All of them.
I don't know that I ever got to the end of Crisis Core. I got
you're
about
doing
like
it wrong.
2/3
so
of the way
sad.
through it. And
it's like Dead Poet Society for me. It's like I want to get 3/4 of the way through, and then once they get to the production of Midsummer Night's Dream, as soon as the curtain closes and that ends, I shut the movie off.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I don't need all of that sadness in my life.
I think probably the most emotional that I have been in with Final Fantasy VII was probably at the very end of Advent Children, when it's like the ghost of Eris and Zack go like walking off into the door or whatever, and I'm just like, oh, because I'm a big Zack fan. I'm like, Cloud, bleh, Zack, yeah, you just stole his whole personality.
Oh yeah, totes.
Fucking horrible.
Cloud is only an interesting character when he's the foil to Sephiroth and when they're a couple.
Yeah,
and there are elements in Crisis Core that bring that to mind as well. So good.
I was actually really in the last week I've been watching everybody say how I'm 1,000,000% wrong about this game called Abzu that we looked at on and I didn't care for it. I was like, I mean,
it's not your style.
I'm going to go back and I'm going to play it, but the thing is that like the main comparison to make to Abzu is Journey, obviously,
right?
And so I actually went back and got the PS4 version of Journey last week because I wanted to make sure before I started arguing with people that I knew what the fuck I was talking about. I was remembering it correctly, right?
Integrity.
Right. So I loaded it up. I started playing it, and I was so stricken with just how much I actually felt with Journey, mostly because I got about 15 to 20 minutes into the game, and I forgot that Journey has this weird multiplayer thing where people just pop into your game and they don't have a name and they don't have any way to communicate with you outside of the little pingy thing that you pop up over your head. So me and this other person, like, we just played like the middle third of the game together, and so we're just helping each other out. We're jumping around, and like, you know, there's a part in Journey where you're like sliding down this big slide, and we're all like slaloming around each other, making little patterns and stuff, and it was great. Like, I didn't know who this person was, but I made sure to kind of keep up with them, and it was actually kind of emotionally affecting when we got to this one part. And I don't know if you have ever seen this, but when a person leaves Journey, like if they wander too far away from you, they just disappear. But if you're like looking right at them and they decide to quit the game, what happens is their avatar just sits down and then kind of like slumps forward and kind of disappears into the sand. And I was like, oh, buddy, we're so close to the end. Come on.
Friend. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. But I don't know. I've had my fair share of Metal Gear 4. I always talk about that one. There's a part
that's a good one.
at the end of Metal Gear 4 where old Snake and old Ocelot are like having like their last fight while everything is blowing up all around them, and that was pretty good. I'm trying to think of some other games that really got under my skin. I don't know. I mean, I'm a little bit of a softie when it comes to, you know, I'm relatively easy to emotionally manipulate.
Ooh, the opera scene in Final Fantasy VI. That opera scene. Oh goodness, the feels.
Nope, I just remembered. Just blocking it out. Fucking, I had to like stop for a little while when my motherfucking horse fell down that chasm in Shadow of the Colossus when Argo falls. And I'm just
don't
like,
remind me.
Yeah. There's been a few. Let's see. Let's do it. I always like to just do an internet search. You know, I have to say that when I got to the end of Persona 4, like Persona 4 is such a long game, and it's like you develop all these relationships, and you're not just hacking and slashing in dungeons, because Persona 4 has that thing where during the day you go to high school and at night you go into the dungeons and fight stuff. So like you're making all of these relationships with all these other characters, and it's like, oh, it's time for this festival, so we're all going to get dressed up and go to the festival. Or, oh, it's summer break. What do you want to do on summer break? Should we go to the water park? And like, there's all of this emotional connection with these different characters to the point where at the very end, when your character has to just be like, all right, bye everybody, maybe I'll see you again someday, and I'm just like, oh, summer break is over.
Like, back to reality.
There's a bunch of them. Let's see what this list says. Actually, it looks like my internet's going to be a jerk now, so I don't know. You got anything else you can think of specifically?
No, 7, just all Final Fantasy just makes me a big old sob bucket.
Okay. Shadow of the Colossus. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a have you ever played Brothers?
No.
Oh man, it is it's such a great game. It's a great game to stream because it's only like 3 or 4 hours long. It's called Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, and the kind of trick with it is that you control 2 characters, and then you control them with each one of the sticks on your gamepad.
Mm-hmm.
So you control one character with the left stick and one character with the right stick, and then you use the trigger buttons to control those 2 characters, and you have to kind of move them at the same time to work together in an environment. And there's a point at the very end of that game where, oh man, I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't played it, but
it feels city.
Yeah, and it's done really cleverly because it's done using the mechanics of the game to reinforce kind of this emotional thing. Anyway, I won't talk too much about it. Well, that's enough. Let's get on to our next one. Comes in from Julio, who says, hey, Jeff, Jennifer. So while I was talking to a friend about the best RPGs ever, I asked the question of what is the most important part of an RPG. He said it should be the story and the characters. This is the main reason why he hated Final Fantasy XIII and why he gave up on playing many of Bethesda's RPGs because he couldn't get attached to the story of the characters. I argued that it's the combat system, since it's what you are doing when you're not listening to characters talk or watching a cutscene, and it's why some of my favorite RPGs to replay are more focused on action-oriented combat, like Kingdom Hearts, Witcher 3, Mass Effect 3, and Bloodborne. This is also why I can't get into some classic RPGs. I dislike turn-based combat immensely, and indifferent to MMO-style combat like Dragon Age 3 or Xenoblade X. So, fellow Dong Priest and person who broke into Jeff's house, what is the most important part of an RPG and why? Newly subscribed Patreon Julio.
I did not break in. I knocked politely on the door and made Jeff come and answer the door for me.
That's right. I'm
a classy lady, all right? I knock.
I actually tell all my co-hosts, I'm like, just barge in here. I'm like, I'm upstairs. I ordered delivery food last week, and like the guy had to call me because he was like,
you didn't hear the door.
Tap.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah. So what's the most important thing in an RPG, Jennifer?
Story, boo. It's all about that story and the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think that
and finding the 2 main male characters that I control everybody in the universe by making gay. Ships, man. Ships tie the world together.
I agree that I'm willing to put up with a lot if the story is good. Like, I'll put up with a slow game. I'll put up with a game that doesn't look that great. I'll put up with a game that doesn't have super great gameplay if the story is fantastic. Now, the stuff that Bloodborne, Mass Effect, Kingdom Hearts, those do have really good combat engines. It's best when you find a game that has both, right? That has both a good combat engine and a good storyline. But I'm a sucker for story, so
yep,
I'll take.
That's me.
I'll take story
all day, every
over.
day, and I love turn-based.
Yeah.
It's my jam. I'm a D&D girl.
Yeah.
The day I die.
I think we've had this discussion before, but I really miss the games where you line everybody up on one side and everybody on the other side.
Yes.
And I thought Final Fantasy X was probably, even though some of the story parts I didn't like, I love the combat system in there with the way that...
I like that you could switch people in and out.
Yeah. And the way that everybody, like, different enemies have different weaknesses to... So it's this whole big rock, paper, scissors thing of who's got what and where and how.
I dug it.
Yeah.
Titus. Goddamn Titus.
It's a real shitting on Titus podcast today.
I'm fine with it.
This week. Welcome to Rage Select. We don't like Titus.
Titus, that's bullshit.
That's bullshit. You're the fucking...
Get that guy out of here.
Oh, man.
You don't even go here.
Yeah.
You don't even exist.
Yeah. You're not even from this world, man. You just come in here and you're messing everything up.
Your stupid laugh.
I'm trying to think of... What I want the Oron and Kimari spin-off like buddy cop game from Final Fantasy X. The Dirge of Cerberus from Final Fantasy X. All right, our next one comes in from Miro, who says, "Hey, Jeff, Jennifer, how are things going over there? I have 2 questions this week. Do Americans really take pills without water like in the movies and TV shows?
Gross.
And is there a TV show that you love but hate the main characters even when you're supposed to like them? Due to the script, not bad acting. Keep up the good work and don't stop raging." Miro from Slovakia. So as far as pills without water, is that a trope that we don't know about?
I don't know. I don't do that.
I mean, I can, but it's like only in
That's
the
gross.
most
Why would you want to? It
dire
hurts.
of circumstances. I'm not Gary Oldman in The Professional or something.
Wah. Gary Oldman.
I don't know. I know some people who can. I know some people who can barely even swallow pills with water.
Yeah, I feel you.
But I never had too much of a problem with it.
As for like main characters that you hate in otherwise good stuff, I mean, the first thing that pops into my head is Arrow. I kind of loathe Oliver Queen because he's so wishy-washy and back and forth and a total and complete hypocrite and can't get his shit together ever.
Okay.
I love Felicity Smoke in that show, and I like some of the other like sidekicky characters, but I find that show to be tedious and repetitive.
Okay.
I did, however, binge watch through all 2 seasons of The Flash, and am now very sad that there's no more yet.
I need to
Flash
go back.
was amazing.
I need to go back and watch Flash.
And I'm
stopped.
totally and completely in love with Cisco.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. The nerdy boy with the heart of gold who never gets the girl.
Yeah.
I freaking love him. And he has all the best lines and knows all the pop culture references and wears the cutest t-shirts. Swoon City.
Okay. The first person that came to mind when I was reading this question was probably Walter White from Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Walter's he's a tool. And he's a tool for a good 4 seasons of Breaking Bad. I mean, in the beginning, it's like, I think you're supposed to think that Jesse's kind of a piece of crap, but like, he actually kind of has this character arc, whereas Walter White just keeps lying to himself about who he is and how smart he is and blah, blah. Actually, I tell you what, I got into vehement arguments. Have you seen Breaking Bad?
Nope, I don't.
Okay.
Nope.
There's a part at the end of one of the seasons. I'm going to be vague about this. There's a part at the end of one of these seasons.
I'm not going to watch it, so you don't have to be vague for me.
Okay. Everybody else who's watched Breaking Bad or who doesn't want to know, just stop this and go watch it all. It's on everything. Go watch it. There's a part at the end of one of the seasons where there's a subplot where this kid gets poisoned. And it's a way to motivate one of the characters to do a thing. And at the very, very end of the very last scene before that season is over, it turns out that Walter did the poisoning and then laid it on this other guy to get Jesse to help him take him down, right? And then from that point forward, I was just like, this guy's a piece of shit. Like, he was kind of an asshole before. Like, he did some stuff I didn't like all that much. He was an arrogant kind of asshole. But, like, at this point, you poisoned a kid. And I got into these arguments with people who really like the show who are like, well, no, he's super smart. He's a scientist. He knew exactly how much. And I'm like, no. He doesn't know that kid's medical history. That kid could have been anemic or had some problem, or he could have had the flu and he gave him too much. He rolled the dice on poisoning a child. He's a bad guy. You should not be emulating with this particular character. Also, I kind of feel like Jimmy McNulty from The Wire kind of falls under that category. I don't know if you've watched that, but he's an alcoholic piece of crap. Oh, man. He's
Piper from Orange is the New Black. Fucking hate her.
Oh, man. Yeah,
hate her.
Yeah, she is.
She's a piece of work.
She is awful.
Who lacks spine.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like Skylar in Breaking Bad. There was a whole thing about Anna Gunn and because she's a real kind of overbearing wife character. Mm-hmm. And then once Walter starts, doing the meth stuff, it's like, she's like, where do you go at night? And like, why do you keep leaving and doing this? And everybody's like,
you don't know my business.
And then he gets all defensive about it. Everybody's like, oh man, she's so bitchy. I'm like, her husband is sneaking away to cook meth, and she's kind of onto it. Like, she's kind of a smart character. I agree that in the first season she could be a little irritating because you're like, man, get back to the crime story. I don't want to watch you argue with your wife. But on the other hand, I don't know. I'm trying to think of anybody else that really, really irritates me from TV shows. I don't know. Anybody else come to mind for you? I'm trying to think down. Wesley goddamn Crusher on Star Trek. I've been watching Star Trek recently, and boy, Star Trek The Next Generation wants to make him into a thing. And it's like, stop trying to make Wesley Crusher a thing. He's not a thing.
I'm 7 of 8 episodes into Strange Things?
Stranger Things.
That one. Mm-hmm. I kind of hate Winona Ryder in that movie, show, whatever.
Yeah. What I keep telling people, I'm like, hey, you know what? So have you ever been like, you know what I really want to see is I would like to watch a TV show where Winona Ryder just freaks out for 13 episodes nonstop. Do you have a show?
Stranger Things.
I've got a recommendation for you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go on to our next one. This one is from Carl. Carl says, hey, Jeff and Jennifer, in the ever-changing world of PC platform, I was wondering if you had spent any notable time with SteamOS and the Steam controller. If SteamOS does well, could we really be entering a world where Linux finally gets mainstream AAA titles? Anyway, what are your thoughts towards SteamOS, etc.? Carl, I assume that you have not done any experimentation with SteamOS or Steam controller?
I have not Steam controller. I have Steam on my Mac, and I've been playing lots of games.
Okay. They put out a Linux version of this OS that was supposed to be, it's basically like a gaming OS. So it's made for, you install it, and all it really does is play games. It's Linux-based. It doesn't play all the games, but it plays some of the games. So, Carl, I think you got two major problems. First off...
You got two choices of what you can do.
If all of the Steam games were available on the Steam OS, that would be one thing. But and if they...
That's right, they're not.
Yeah, it's like you have to have some games. Let's see. Let me see if I can find a list of games.
That was my most hilarious mistake after getting a Mac. Was I didn't realize that there were some games you can't get on Mac. On Steam.
Yeah.
And I bought a couple of games that had been on my wish list for a while that I didn't have a computer that would run.
Mm-hmm.
I bought them real quick and was like, yeah, I'm excited to play these. And then I was like, oh, this shit doesn't run on my computer. God damn it. Like Catan. What the F, Mac? You won't let me play fucking Settlers of Catan. Really? Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to look through here.
Mad
I mean, like Undertale, Life is Strange, SteamWorld Heist, RimWorld. There's some stuff on here, but it's definitely, it needs to be a thing. I feel like it needs to be a thing where either everything works. Well, I feel like they would have a much greater chance if everything worked on the Steam OS. Like if they had a way to filter all of the Windows architecture into Linux using, because there's a thing in Linux called Wine that you use to simulate the PC operating system inside of Linux so that you can run PC stuff. If they made like kernel level things that would do that so that you could basically just install whatever you wanted to on the Steam OS and make it so that it runs way better because it's not susceptible to like spyware or anything like that, that would be one thing. But the problem that I feel like you're having is that the PS4 and the Xbox are probably running. I mean, I don't know enough about this, so if somebody else knows, let me know. But the way all of the cross compatibility that we've been seeing with stuff getting ported over to Steam from those other platforms, it seems like they're using mostly Windows development tools on the consoles as well. So if you're really going to make a move to Linux, you're going to have to get way more developers to go in that direction.
Interesting.
As far as the Steam controller goes, I don't think the Steam controller is going to take off, mostly because it's $50. You got to buy it directly from Steam, and what it's made for is weird. So if you haven't ever seen a Steam controller,
I haven't.
This is the Steam controller. So
it's bulky.
It's about the same size as a regular controller, except that it only has one analog stick. These two are touch pads that have haptic feedback on them. And so you've got your standard row of buttons, you've got triggers, and then you've got these two weird touch pads. And I don't know. I don't know how other people feel about this, but touch pads are really imprecise. Like they've always felt, and for video games, I feel like you want something with a really high level of precision. Now, I think that the reason they've done this...
Yeah, it's like if you're playing on a PC to begin with, why are you going to go from being really precise with the keyboard to imprecise with a controller?
I think that a lot of people, they're trying to push this idea of like... Because Steam actually made a bunch of consoles that had the Steam OS on them that you could plug into your TV.
I have a friend who has one.
But they were all super expensive, so it's like, why? But I think that part of the reason that they've done this is because you can actually use this touchpad to play like a mouse-based game by just using it to move the mouse around on the screen.
I see.
But I always
interesting.
I mean, I bought Kerbal Space Program on the PS4, which I'm a huge fan of Kerbal Space Program on the PC, and they do this thing where you just have a mouse that you're controlling with the right analog stick of your controller, which just feels wrong. It just doesn't like you need a mouse to make a mouse work, and without that, I don't feel like it really works super well. So I don't know. I don't think that you're going to get. I think that Valve would need to push this stuff harder if they want it to really take off, because the Steam controller has been out for like a year, and Steam boxes have been out for a while. So I don't think it's going to. I don't think it, unless they have some kind of new incentive for people to get it, that it's going to just suddenly take off somehow. All right, this next question comes in from Thomas. Thomas says, hail to Jeff and Jennifer. Thank you for all the content and hard work that you do for Rage Select. Fellow patron here, me and the missus were watching Farscape, and we got a real sci-fi heavy episode this week.
Yeah, we do.
And it's freaking brilliant. We're currently about to start season 4. Season 1 is indeed a slow burner, but from season 2 onwards, it makes for very compelling viewing. In a previous podcast, I remember you chastising the ending of Farscape for season 4. Did you know there's a 3-hour film entitled Peacekeeper Wars that made to wrap up and conclude the show? I did know that. I own it on DVD. I watch it all the time.
So you're a fan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can watch on YouTube for free. My question, can you think of any series you would like to see a film made to wrap up the loose ends left by the TV show or property?
Firefly.
Took my goddamn answer right out of my mouth. Hail to the Dog Lord. I haven't even finished reading the question yet.
Sorry, I was excited.
Love Thomas.
Brown coats for life.
Yeah,
I mean, we had one, but you can't have enough.
Yeah,
I need another ones.
So we're not just limited to just TV shows. Thinks of other properties that could use a wrap up. I'm gonna go. And I don't know if they're going to answer them or not, but I had a shitload of questions about what the hell was going on in Gears of War 3 when it ended. Like, they're having Gears of War 4 coming out, and it's like way further down the line. I don't know if they're going to answer any of those questions, but like, who is the Queen of the Locusts, and where the hell did she come from? And just take your hands off the keyboard for just a second. If you're about to tell me that it was explained in the book or the comic book, then I want them to make that book or comic book into a thing that I can freaking watch on TV, because, yeah, go to hell.
True.
I was actually talking with Matt Frank about a number of universes that I see in video games, and specifically video games where I wish that they would do more spin-off stuff.
Yeah.
Like Metroid. Like, again, I wish they would do more stuff in the Metroid universe. I've talked at least 4 times about how I wish they would do stuff in the Star Wars universe that wasn't about laser wizards.
Feel that.
But stuff that didn't... Oh, man, TV
laser
shows that
wizards
had a unsatisfying ending. Unsatisfying conclusion.
I would have been happy about a Roswell movie.
Okay.
Back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I know one. Star Trek Deep Space Nine has a real, like, they really just hurry up the ending. It's like they get to this point where they have 15 minutes left, and then Captain Sisko punches him, and he falls off a cliff. Ah! Hooray! We all solved it. It's over. And it's like, no. There was a war going on. You probably could have stretched that out a little bit longer.
On the anime side of things, Fruits Basket.
Okay.
Was an amazing series. They only made 4 DVDs, which was like the first 12 episodes, something like that. No, it was like the first 20-something episodes. My brain. They kind of do a little wrap up, but the manga went on and on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
So it's like the first like 6 books I think were covered in the video of it. I would have loved to see a movie of that. It was just a beautiful storyline and great characters and an interesting premise. I don't know. I would have dug that.
Okay. I mean, I would. There was a time where I would have talked about Hellsing, but then they actually went back and did Hellsing Ultimate.
So good.
This is where they did just immediately, like, abruptly and weirdly end the whole thing, and it was like, no. Let's get into the whole, like, and then Nazi vampires destroyed London.
Yeah.
Because that's really where you want to go.
Alucard is my hero.
Yeah. Boy, he's such a weird guy.
Yeah, he is. I love that about him. I love those kooky, offbeat characters that are strangely attractive.
I'm trying to think of... I've been looking for a new anime recently.
Fruits Basket, if you never watched it.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's interesting. It's this family that are cursed that anytime they come into physical contact with a member of the opposite sex, they transform into their animal in the Chinese zodiac.
Okay.
So they'll just randomly turn into a rat or a cat or whatever. And like, very interesting premise. And it's this big family secret because they're cursed, and this girl comes in and learns their secret, even though she's not supposed to know it, and like lives with them and does her best to like thaw the cold, shriveled hearts of these cursed people.
Of course. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have.
I'd go for a Game of Thrones movie. I mean, they're not done with it yet, but
yeah,
I'd go for a movie.
Oh, Twin Peaks, man, they never got to that third season of Twin Peaks. But they're making a new Twin Peaks series, right? There's some.
Oh, I have no idea.
Forever. Yeah. Anyway, on to the next one. This one comes in from Slepomori, who says, "Dear Jeff and Jennifer." This one's primarily coming in my direction. This is primarily a Jeff question. As a new member of the Bearded Brotherhood myself and Sisterhood, all are welcome. Says, I'm wondering if you utilize any extra supplements to keep those luscious locks nice and healthy. I've purchased beard oil, balm, and wax to keep my face soft and tame, as well as a special sandalwood comb to evenly distribute everything. I know that all your video game knowledge and strength comes from your beard, so I was just curious if you took any extra care or just let it grow as if you were stranded on a desert island with a volleyball as your only friend. Keep up the fantastic content.
I do actually have input on this subject.
Tell me.
So I have a friend who owns a company that makes artisanal men's hair care products.
Oh my God, this is such an Austin. This is based in Austin, right?
You will love this. Mm-hmm. They are called the Bearded Bastard.
Okay.
And they make really great products, and they're all like really rugged and manly. Like the tins of salve have like a wood inlay in the top, and they're all really sophisticated and smell like cedar. And
like you get a nice handcrafted box, you open it up, it's just gravel and it just says rub on face.
Pretty much. No, they're all really classy, really nice products. And he started as like an indie brand here in Austin, and now he's got boutiques all over the world that have his shit. And he was on some like entrepreneur list of like the best men's products ever in the world kind of thing. Like his shit's really nice. The Bearded Bastard.
Yeah. As for myself, no. This is what
you see is what you get, boo.
The hair the hair that is allowed to exist on my head is in literally the most hands-off configuration of all time, because I don't have to go to anybody to take care of what's on the top of my head, and I can use the exact same pair of clippers that I use on the top of my head to trim up my beard. So basically, I kind of wish that I mostly shaved my head because I was going bald, and I was like, I'm not going to do this receding hairline garbage. I'm going to go straight to
owning it.
Bruce Willis, circa Good Day to Die Hard.
Yeah.
I mean, pudgy Bruce Willis, obviously, but like Bruce. But this whole thing going on my head, it's like I have to mess with it maybe twice a week, depending. When I'm going out, I'll slap a fresh shave on the head and clip up the beard at the same time. But no, I mean, it's not super coarse. I could probably have a silky smooth beard, but I'm almost also like, what would be the point of having a silky smooth beard? I mean, it's just big hair.
Strokeability?
Maybe. I mean, I don't. I guess I don't stroke my beard chin all that often when I'm thinking about things, so I could do that. But no, generally just going for it. I am kind of wishing though that that I've got like these like on my sideburns. There's been this enroaching of gray and white hairs down into my beard that keeps going further and further. I kind of wish it would just
it's just making an exodus across your face.
Yeah, it's coming eventually. That's it's going to hook up on the chin strap and then go up over. And I wish that my hair would get on with it. Like I wish that I could just get a big gray beard right now and just get going, because that would be nice. All right, one last question here, and this comes in from we'll call him Chase, who says, "Dear Jeff and Jennifer," actually he says, "Dear Jeff," and it depends on a little behind the scenes. I usually just put the person's name that I'm recording with in the other part of it. But this Chase here kind of goes on and on. So he says, "Dear Jeff and glorious, badass, cool as shit co-host, after the podcast, I will waste years trying to be cool as you, but end up failing because how could I?"
No, that's not true, friend.
My question is kind of dumb, but figured who'd be a little fun. Okay. What's a comic book? What's a comic or book that you deem impossible to adapt? Now that you thought of one, imagine the worst case scenario of how it would go. My example is a TV show adaptation of the comic book Crossed, but instead of it going to a cool channel like Starz or Cinemax, it ends up on Freeform. I don't know what channel that is. Chase. Replace all the horrific acts of violence and gore with shitty acting and dumbass team romances, and you have the worst adaptation of Crossed. As always, love your show and made Dong Thulu clog your shower drain first. Chase. That actually seems like a really easy question, Chase. It's all you have to do is be like, okay, so what's a really hard thing to adapt? And then how would you mess that up? And just say, something.
Have Warner
else.
Brothers make it.
Right.
Done.
I think that Transmetropolitan would be a very difficult comic book to adapt because it's weird and political and also would require a shitload of special effects to get the world the way it's supposed to look. And then how would you mess it up? You put it on the CW and make it be like, we're reimagining Spider Jerusalem as a teenager for teenage audiences. And it's like, he's a drug-addled old political writer. And it all takes place in 1980s because everybody loves 80s nostalgia. And it also takes place in Canada. And Tiffany is going to guest star on one of the episodes. And yeah, that would be, I mean, I don't know. People have told me that Preacher TV show is all right, but I don't know that I can really watch that Preacher TV show.
I have not paid attention to it.
I don't know. What's a book? Let's take it one step at a time. What's a book or movie or comic that you feel like is impossible to adapt?
I don't know. I spend my entire life figuring out ways to make the impossible possible. So just coming to grips with the fact that I can't do a thing is not something I do very readily.
Okay.
God, I mean,
I really do think it's impossible to. I mean, they've tried it twice, but I don't think it's possible to make Dune into a legitimate.
Oh, yeah, I feel
it's that. Too much of it goes on the inside of the character's head, or even if you did like a voiceover, it would still be.
I got one.
Oh, right.
50 Shades of Grey.
Blurg.
It's all in her head, and it's all crap anyway.
Oh, gross.
The worst thing you could do is make it into a movie. Oh, wait, they already did that. And a sequel. And a
God, that movie.
after the sequel.
God, that movie, man. She's not into it. Like, I don't understand.
Nope, not at all. She's even more not into it in the books.
Why is this a thing that people are holding up? It's like it's I mean, this is going to sound real crappy, but it's like light sexual / psychological assault, psychosexual assault.
And it's worse in the book.
God damn. Is it romantic? I don't even understand how
it's not romantic at all. It's very much an abusive relationship.
I mean, she says, like, get the fuck out of my life, and then he shows up at her house and ties her up and has sex with her. Like, it's just the soundtrack and the way it's shot.
Like,
or this
way
could
to
be
show how a strong personality can take advantage of a weak personality. Yay, healthy relationship dynamics. Everybody wants to be this. Yay, bye. There you go.
I mean, considering the source material it's based on, which was
crappy fan fiction.
Yeah, but the most entertaining riff tracks of all time.
I've not watched the riff tracks.
Oh my goodness!
I'm missing out.
I have seen every single Twilight movie.
I'm sure that's amazing.
Multiple times with riff tracks. It is amazing and incredible.
I'm sure that is.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's plenty of stuff that would be hard to adapt into TV show or movie, especially books, because you spend so much time in the inside of somebody's head.
My favorite would be The War for the Oaks, which is my passion project. It's my favorite book on the face of the planet. I have an autographed first edition. I absolutely love Emma Bull and everything that she writes. She was one of the very first writers of urban fantasy back in the 80s when that was becoming a thing. She helped define an entire generation of authors and another generation after that of authors that were making urban fantasy novels.
Okay.
Her book, War for the Oaks, is just beautifully written and an amazing combination of fantasy and urban and music and romance and war tactics and all of these things. But being able to water it down enough to make it into a movie would be really hard. Like, they did a script for it back in the day, and I saw a trailer for it, and it was atrocious.
Yeah.
I mean, her husband did it, but it was just atrocious. And that's the one thing, like, if I could pick one project to do in my life and do really fucking well, it would be War for the Oaks.
I don't understand. They're supposed to be making a movie about the gunslinger, right? The Stephen King.
That sounds right.
Gunslinger, because they cast Idris Elba as Roland. I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
But I don't understand how you make that first book into a movie, because that book is like 120 pages and like 40 of them are just describing him shooting people in a scene that takes probably about 3 minutes. Like,
Oh, The Grapes of Wrath. That would be an atrocious movie because the book was horrible.
I think they did make a
God,
Grapes of Wrath.
No. The only thing I care about is the turtle on the side of the highway. Really. It's the only thing I cared about in that movie.
If you ever meet my father, you can ask him about, was it John Steinbeck, right?
Yeah.
Because he will tell you that he will go on at length, being that he has a master's of English, he will go on at length about how regular people are not supposed to be reading this book. This is a book for like English professors and like
absolutely
literature students and things like that. This is not the sort of thing that you throw at a 17-year-old like, look how terrible, because
no, I had a teacher who thought it was one of the best books ever written by mankind.
Good God
She also
Almighty.
absolutely just was up the ass of Catcher in the Rye. Like she was fully convinced it was the best American novel ever written. And my dad and I read it together that year because he read all of my summer projects with me and we would like talk about them and be all literary and shit.
Yeah.
We'd go to Starbucks and like read in tandem and then talk about it. We both finished that book in a day and hated it. Just went on a mad tear about how much we hated it.
Yeah. God, reading Grapes of Wrath was like eating a bowl of dry sawdust.
I'm not even going to lie. I didn't even finish it.
With salt on it. I remember I couldn't.
I just could not force myself to choke it down.
I mean, half of the things that I was assigned to read in high school, and then I've gone back, like, I would have, like, as a 17-year-old, somebody should have made me read The Jungle, right? And nobody, it was like, here, have this.
Rand, right? Ayn Rand?
No.
Who wrote that one?
That's oh, God damn it. Upton Sinclair.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There you go.
But instead it's like, no, here's the sound and the fury. Like, God damn, no. Anyway, enough about that. This is not a literary podcast. This is a video game podcast. And
it could be a literary podcast.
It could be. That is our last question for this week. So mail@rageselect.com is the email address that you can send your questions into if you have them. Jennifer, where can people find you on the internet?
I am Mayhem's Muse. You can find me on pretty much every social media platform known to mankind as Mayhems_Muse or just Mayhem's Muse. Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, IMDb, Steam, PlayStation Network, all the shit.
Okay.
I got all of it.
There you go.
I'm everywhere.
All right. Join us back here tomorrow for more Dojo videos. And I think...
kick some buckaroos to the Patreon so we can make you more videos and stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go. It's about time for me to go back and read all the way through Transmetropolitan over again.
Oh, you have fun with that. I'm about to start reading Ready Player One.
Excellent.
Yes.
I need to do that too.
Do it.